Peter May's MCC team played a one-day game in 1958, heralding the international debut of the Tomlian captain, Michael Teixeira.
Michael was very good. He was one of the up-and-coming batsmen during that era.
Fortunately, the first game was rained off. We only had 2 hours play before lunch. It was a very strong MCC side led by Peter May and had players like Cowdrey, Truman, Statham, Lanka.
Frank Tyson was really fast. I must confess that I didn't see the first couple of balls when he bowled at me. He just whizzed past my head. Later on, I got a little confident. I was able to tackle him and Brian Statham. But all the others failed, except myself and Anderson entered double figures.
In the Gopalan Trophy match against Madras in 1959, C.I. Gunasekara scored a career-best 212 runs in the first innings.
That was a really great knock by C.I. I watched it the whole day. It was fantastic. He played some really great shots. He was a very aggressive player. And when he got on top of the bowling, it was very difficult to bowl to him.
West Indies players including Gary Sobers, Wesley Hall, Conrad Hunt and Rowan Canai, and a few Ceylon players including the wicketkeeper batsman Herbert Fernando, played for the Daily Mirror 11 against the Ceylon team in February 1961.
And what happened is they had sent a signal that they wanted a wicketkeeper. So I don't know why. I would have preferred to play for the Ceylon side, but I was settled to play with them. So I went out with the West Indian team and I took my stance behind the stumps about a good distance. There were no side screens. They removed the side screens to accommodate the crowd that was coming in. I didn't know where to look. Suddenly I saw Westall ambling about near the boundary.
The one thing I remember very well, which is not a good memory, was that Rohan Kanhai decided to take to me when I was bowling. But thankfully when the match continued and Michael came into bat, his 100 really showed that he was a cut above the rest of us.
Well, I think the 102 against the Daily Mirror 11 was probably the best knock at that time. And it also gave me the added confidence to bat on the international stage.
In April 1961, Richie Benaud's Australian team, on its way to England for the Ashes, stopped in Colombo for a one-day match. The Australian team included Bobby Simpson, Bill Lawry, Norman O'Neill, Brian Booth and Peter Burge. Ceylon captain C.I. Gunasekara won the toss and decided to field. Renowned for his big hitting, Gunasekara later blasted 24 from an over from left-arm wrist spinner Lindsay Klein.
C.I. Gunasekara belted the left-arm leg spinner Klein. I went into bat and I tried to emulate him, but got caught and bowled by Quick.
The MCC toured in 1962 with Ted Dexter, Ken Barrington and Peter Parfitt, and a strong bowling attack including Barry Knight, Tony Locke and David Allen. C.I. Gunasekara captained Ceylon and Dexter led the MCC.
First ball I got, I square cut for a 4 and I got the confidence. Unfortunately, I was given leg before and I missed a well-deserved 100.
C.I. Gunasekara, who was known as a consummate entertainer, captained Ceylon for the last time when Bobby Simpson's Australians played in 1964.
Taking the transition from the Australian match to the Pakistan match, which followed fairly soon after, I realized that we were not far behind international standard. And from thinking of other people as giants, I realized that we could play them as equals. And this is what I think happened even with the rest of the team. Under Michael Teixeira, we were all closer in age. But when Michael came into captain, I think the team knit very well under him.
Sri Lanka produced sufficient cricketers of quality to encourage England and Australia to make whistle-stop visits, but the national team was rarely competitive. This changed from the moment Michael Teixeira assumed the captaincy in 1964. The first year of his leadership was a turning point in the history of Sri Lankan cricket.
The selectors, I think, had a lot of faith in his ability as a captain because he, I think, to a great degree, instilled professionalism into the national teams. And there was a lot more planning under him. And he also, purely by his own performances, earned the respect of his players.
Pakistan, under the leadership of Imtiaz Ahmed, played an unofficial test in August 1964. The Pakistan team included Javed Burki, Intikhab Alam and Asif Iqbal.
We beat Pakistan in the three-day warm-up game, and it was evident then that their batsmen weren't too good against the moving ball. So we felt that if there was a green top for the test match, and of course the oval in those days was always green, and we could restrict them, we could win, because we felt that in any conditions we could get 150, 170.
Ceylon won the toss and batted. Mano Panaya and Trevelyan Edward opened the batting, followed by Buddy Reid and skipper Michael Tessera.
Mano Panaya and Trevelyan Edwards were opening bats. Mano was a solid batsman, very defensive. On the other hand, Trevelyan Edwards was more of a dashing batsman.
The ball was moving and bouncing, so we managed to cope, or I managed to cope, the pre-lunch session.
We really had to grind it out. We didn't get the opportunity to play strokes. Their bowling was such. Intikhab Alam was the bowler of that side, I think. It was very accurate.
And I put in a good 30 runs. Michael also made 30, but I also played a dogged innings. And we managed to keep the Pakistani at bay.
Pakistan bowling attack was led by a fast bowler called Farooq, 6'3", and they had Asif Iqbal, who later played a big role for Pakistan. Then they had Intikhab Alam. But the wicket actually was a lively green wicket.
Ceylon won the toss and scored 152, with captain Michael Tessera top scoring with 33 before his paceman took early Pakistan wickets.
Darrell Levers, together with Ian Pearis again, had the Pakistanis in all sorts of trouble.
They failed to be able to counter the swing bowling of Darrell and Ian Pearis.
Ian Pearis, he opened bowling at the other end with me. It was a privilege really to open with him, because he was already a first-class cricketer playing for Cambridge.
He played under Garmin Gunasena for the Cambridge University team, playing first-class cricket in England. Then he came back. He was tall. He used to bowl fast in-swingers.
Darrell Levers produced an outstanding spell of swing bowling, well supported by Ian Pearis and the spinners.
I must give credit to my coaches in school. Mr. Elmo de Bruin. He taught me how to bowl, how to hold the ball in the first place, and how to control the swing by using backspin. Because he told me the more you backspin, the later it swings.
Darrell Levers had a very late in-swinger, and they found it very difficult to face it. But we had good other bowlers as well. There was Polanavita and Neil Chanmugam, backed by Abu Fuad.
Chanmugam was a very versatile off-spinner. He could move the ball the other way just without changing his action. Abu Fuad was a very defensive, the other off-spinner. So I'm just saying there were two different there was off-spinners, but entirely two different bowlers.
Darrell got the first 2 wickets in his first over. Pakistan were down for 2 wickets down in the first over, and I took that catch, a wonderful catch.
It was quite a thrill when I got the first wicket. It was LBW, and it was a ball swung very late and caught him LBW. And then 2 balls later, Punaya took a brilliant catch at short leg. He dived forward and took the catch.
Pakistan was struggling at 38 for 4 at the close of play. On day 2, Javed Burki top scored for Pakistan with 32 before he was brilliantly caught by wicketkeeper Herbert Fernando off the bowling of Darrell Levers.
Javed Burki uncle of Imran Khan. It was very high in the air and I leapt high in the air, and I think that had a big bearing on the match.
I bowled a straight ball and it sort of bounced a little more than usual, and Herbert took a high catch. If he let it off, it would have been a 4-run. I ended up with 5 wickets, and when we were going back into the pavilion, I was invited to lead the team in. And it was quite a thrill for me, and to lead the Sri Lankan team in after fielding, getting Pakistan out for 99.
Ceylon scored 137 in the second innings, and Pakistan, chasing 191 runs for victory, lost 3 wickets for 27 before Asif Iqbal and Javed Burki offered resistance and took the score to 70.
Asif Iqbal came in and he was batting well. Neil was bowling to him, and I noticed that he was hitting Neil through mid-wicket. And I told Neil, I'm going to come up from a deeper position, I'm going to come up to a short mid-wicket. And I will stay out of the position that he was hitting to until about the 3rd or 4th ball. Then you bowl him a short one and I will jump into position. He did that, and Asif turned around and smacked it into mid-wicket, and the ball was falling short. I dived forward and got it with my left hand, put my right hand over it.
And there was a light shower of rain, and immediately after the rain, Michael Tissera brought on Darrell Levers, and Imtiaz and Jawad Burki, who were batting so well, found the swing far too much, and immediately Imtiaz got caught in the leg trap. Brilliant catch by Devaraj, and then we got the breakthrough. It was a great victory.
Darrell Levers was well supported by Anura Polonawita, who took 3 wickets for 45.
Yeah, I mean, getting 3 wickets against a visiting test side, it is great, and the wicket also helped me to get those 3 wickets.
Pakistan managed only 149 runs in the second innings, and Ceylon registered its first ever victory in an unofficial test.
They invited me to lead the team in. It was quite a thrill for me to lead Sri Lankan team in after our first test win against Pakistan.
Our team, people like Levers, they bowled very tight. Michael captained the side excellently. That was our first test victory, and it was a wonderful team effort.
We won that test match, and for us, Darrell Levers, P.I. Peiris and Neil Chamugam, I think, were the standout bowlers. They really won the match for us. The batting was adequate, the fielding was brilliant.
Following the success against Pakistan, Michael Tissera took Ceylon on a tour of India in December 1964. He was determined to show the cricket world Ceylon was an emerging cricket country of consequence. But it was a tough assignment against a fine Indian team.
Michael Tissera led a very strong Sri Lankan side, or Ceylon side then, against an Indian side which was of full strength. And India had Nawab Pataute as their captain. They had Surti, Sardesai, Hanuman Singh, the bowlers they had Chandrasekhara, Venkat Raghavan, and a whole heap of them. Engineer was in that side. So Sri Lanka were going to be tested.
The tour of India was a great opportunity. We had played Pakistan in August, and we went to India in December, January.
I went to my boss's office to ask him for the necessary leave. I think I needed about 7 to 8 weeks leave from the plantation. And at first he refused to give me the leave. And I had half a mind to resign immediately. As I was leaving the office, he told me to come back, sit down. And he told me, don't worry, Darrell, you can go on your tour. We will manage your work here. I'm the happiest guy in the country.
Well, we didn't think we had much of a chance when we went to India, because they had a very strong side. They've been playing regularly, And for us, it was one of those things that come up every 6 months or so. So the feeling wasn't so great when we really went.
Sri Lanka initially took time to settle down because here we were playing in the big league. We were players who were used to just playing weekend cricket, and to play the longer innings was the biggest problem.
And so we took a little time to adjust to the pace of the game. And so the first test match, I remember when we played again in Bangalore, we scored very fast and they couldn't understand why we were batting, we were trying to score runs very quick.
India won the first test by an innings, but Michael Tessera and Stanley Jayasinghe scored centuries in the second test and showed resistance and almost managed to draw the match.
And again, it was Michael Tessera and Stanley Jayasinghe who had been brought down from England to play in that series, was really the people who showed up well and showed that with experience, Sri Lanka were as good as them.
And they batted and batted. And we were quite inspired, and we learned how to play long innings very patiently.
I think I rate that 100 I got against India as one of the best knocks I played, because it was against a really good spin attack. It had Chandrasekhar, Venkat, and the fact that we took India to the last 15 or 20 minutes, was a great fillip for us.
Anybody who plays a straight bat and adheres to the technical side of batting, there are runs plenty on Indian wickets. So that is one of the reasons why I was able to score 135.
The partnership by Stanley and Michael was out of this world. They really pulled us through, and that gave us so much of confidence, particularly against Indian bowling, which was, high-class bowling at the time. And that gave us a lot of courage to go into the third test.
But when it came to the third test was really the test which Sri Lanka shone. India made a few changes, but they didn't bargain for Sri Lanka's performance in that game.
The third test at Ahmedabad is rightly remembered as producing the most memorable victory in the pre-test era of Sri Lankan cricket. Indian captain Mansur Ali Khan, the Nawab of Pataudi, won the toss and batted.
It rained on the first 2 days, and we were only able to play after tea on the second day, and that too on a very damp wicket, because the Indian captain requested that we play, and I agreed because we had 25,000 people in the ground.
Norton Frederick opened the bowling, and Farooq Engineer, the famous Indian wicketkeeper batsman, opening batsman, fast scoring man, he faced the first over. In the first over, Norton Frederick bowled one shot, and Trevelyan Edwards was fielding at short leg, and he hit him straight on the face and hit him in the Trevelyan Edwards used to wear glasses, and hit him straight in the eye, and actually he took no further part in the match.
And to everyone's shock and surprise, the Sri Lankan fast bowlers, Stanley Jayasinghe also, who was bowling medium pace, saw to it that the Indians were all at sea.
So in Ahmedabad at that time, we started the game at 9:30 in the morning, and as you know, 9:30, overcast sky and a bit of moisture, overnight moisture, and believe it or not, Darrell Levers and Fredericks, they bowled brilliantly.
Norton Frederick was excellent. He had a square arm action and he generated a lot of pace.
Norton Frederick, I think that time he was our fastest bowler, and he had a fast off cutter, and he had a long run up.
Pataudi swung at a ball from Norton Frederick, wide of the leg side. Somehow, I don't know, I moved and took the ball with the tips of my fingers, threw it in the air and somersaulted and took the catch. And Pataudi was out. And Hanuman Singh walking in, he said, "Doc, that was a great catch." And the next day, I was hailed as a great wicketkeeper because the Times of India published that picture.
Stanley, after scoring a century in the previous test match, then he came up bowling off cutters. I think Stanley, who was playing county cricket for Leicestershire in England, he knew the situation, he knew the conditions.
County cricket experience enabled me to diagnose the behavior of the wicket, and the wicket was very helpful to bowlers, and I was able to alter my style of bowling from medium pace to off cutters.
We thought, having got India out, we had already won the match, but suddenly we found ourselves 5 wickets down for about 40 runs, and Michael and I went into bat after tea, and Michael was out, and we had 6 wickets down. Polnavita was walking out, 6 down for 40. I told Polnavita, we must do something.
And I went there, I went for the ball and got few fours and got 50 runs.
And we took the score right up to 140, I think, 140 odd, which was a remarkable recovery. Polnavita just got his 50.
And that evening, I was one of the not-out batsmen. So Michael called me and the rest of the team to his room and had a team meeting.
And the captain he was, a very decisive captain, he made the decision to declare.
With only one day to go, we felt there was no point in batting on.
The fourth day started with great excitement when Michael Teixeira made a bold declaration with Ceylon still 45 runs behind India.
When we went to the ground next morning, he went across to the Paraudi's room and declared. I think it shocked the Indians because they were even warming up to do the fielding when they suddenly found that they had to pad up and start batting.
So India had to bat again on a wicket where the conditions favoured the bowlers.
Run-up was very, very muddy and slippery, and I remember Freddie reducing his run-up. Frederick bowled the first over in the second inning, and I think it was a maiden over, and I bowled the second over. Abbas Ali Beg hit me for a 4, if I remember correct. And then the next ball I got him out. So it was one wicket down for about 4 runs.
The pitch was giving us help, and accordingly I bowled and it was spinning, and then we managed to get them out for 66 runs.
The plans worked, but much better than we expected. We never thought that we would get India out for 66 runs. The bowling was brilliant. I think Stanley Jayasinghe, Norton Fredericks and Pollens bowled exceedingly well. And getting India out for 66 gave us a good chance of winning the match.
Ceylon now had to score 112 to record its first win in an unofficial test overseas. But regular opener Trevelyan Edward was unable to bat due to injury.
At the time, we felt the target was achievable, even though we were 1 batsman down because Edwards was injured with an eye problem.
Trevelyan was injured and he couldn't bat, so Abu opened batting with me.
And Abu, on a pitch which was absolutely a minefield, where the ball was jumping up, hitting the batsmen on their bodies, survived, totally battered blue and black, and he made 40-odd runs and set the foundation.
And Abu was more defensive than me. I was also a defensive batsman, but I had to go for my shots because we didn't want to get bogged down, and we got to 40. Unfortunately, I was trying to be too adventurous and I got stumped off Venkat.
But then the Indians fought back fiercely, and Abu Fuad scored a good 40, opening batting, and then when we slumped, Stanley Jayasinghe hit a quick 18, and then we were in greatest difficulty, and suddenly I was bowled by Goel, a left-hander, and Pataudi came up to me and said, "Don't play back to a left-hander after this."
The 3 wickets fell for 98, and the target was 112.
Ceylon, after a good start, collapsed to 98 for 6, when first innings batting hero Anura Polonawita joined captain Michael Teixeira, who was determined to register a historic victory.
Polonavita came in to join Michael at the crease, and I was next. I was told to pad up, and I was next.
Pollens had batted well in the first innings, and actually to see him come in at that stage gave me also a lot of confidence.
And I thought I must stay there with Michael until we win.
And we managed to get the runs with no more wickets.
So that really was, I would think, the turnaround of Sri Lanka cricket to a great extent, having beaten India at home.
And we danced for joy, and we got a signal from the Prime Minister, Mrs. Bandaranaike, congratulating on our win. And I think that gave us the opening to bigger things to come.
After winning the match, the High Commissioner was there, Sri Lankan High Commissioner in India, and he took us to a hotel and hosted a great dinner. And it was very nice of the High Commissioner, and really enjoyed the victory.
Granted, the conditions weren't ideal for a test match, but if you beat India in India, people take notice. And in fact, there were reports after that game that India would probably sponsor us for a place in the ICC.
And India and Pakistan both very, very seriously lobbied for Sri Lanka's entry as a member of the ICC.
The impressive performance of the team under the leadership of Michael Teixeira announced to the cricketing world that Ceylon was ready to take on the established nations and play Test match cricket. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, impressed with the performance of the Ceylon team, proposed Ceylon be admitted to the ICC, a move spontaneously supported by Pakistan. The ICC decided against awarding Ceylon full Test match status, but welcomed the ambitious island nation as an associate member on July the 15th, 1965.